Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dwyrin, and today is Monday, and that normally means it is a day to start murdering people. However, today we're doing something a little bit different. You see, I have been seeing more and more often people going ahead and reviewing their games. That is a good thing. You should always review your game, find out where your mistakes are. And nowadays, don't you know it, there are many tools you can use in order to review said game. Now, judging from the title of this video, you probably have a fairly good idea where I'm going with this. And that is to warn you of the dangers of using one of those strong tools to review your games, because maybe the help you're getting is not quite what you're looking for. Case in point, suppose you are a Q player, and I would imagine that most of the viewers are, not saying you're all Qs, I'm sure there's a nice, healthy amount of Dons as well, but I think predominantly there are a lot of Q players out there looking to get better, looking at videos, things like that, might have noticed the programs coming out to help them get better, and they might be using them. So what is the danger here? Because obviously, in this video, we're talking specifically about Lizzie, which I think is the Leela 0 interface for an analysis tool for the public to use. In case you are not familiar with it, we'll zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see where we are. The link is right here. I'll also have it down below. You can go ahead and download it, install it if you'd like. It actually could not be easier if you're on a Windows anyway. I don't have any experience setting up it on Mac or Linux. But yeah, if you have a Windows machine, could not be any easier to snag. I mean, you just pick CPU or GPU version based on your hardware, download it, and you're good to go. Furthermore, Leela 0 is a fairly strong bot. I mean, this thing kills pros nowadays. So, given that it's freely available, it's easy to install, the program itself is really, really, really strong, what are the dangers of actually using it to review your games? And I'd like to go ahead and highlight a few of those for you now. Alright, so here I have Lizzie open, and let's say you've decided that you're going to start working on all aspects of your game starting at the beginning. So maybe you plug in something that you're having trouble with. You see a lot of people, for whatever reason, despite the fact that a lot of pros aren't playing it nowadays, maybe you see someone who is just keep playing Kobayashi. You're not really sure what to do against it, right? Fairly straightforward. So you might go ahead and open your program, because it's really, really strong. You might go ahead and lay out a Kobayashi formation, and you might then inquire what are some really good ways of dealing with the Kobayashi. Seems like a fairly straightforward suggestion. Now, right off the bat, I would say that if you are familiar with the Kobayashi variation, which we see here, then you probably know I don't think I have labeling tools, do I? I don't think so. But you would know that the 2-space high or the 2-space low are the two most common ways for people to approach the Kobayashi in a nice, safe manner. However, even when you are here at this position and you inquire what is a nice, which move is better, you might want to know. You might want to run the numbers and figure out which one do you recommend there, Lizzie? Well, you're going to get a very interesting answer. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we can go ahead and stop Lizzie here. You'll notice that I let it run through, a few thousand variations. And right off the bat, its first suggestion was to play in the upper right-hand corner. One of the things that you'll notice will be a reoccurring theme is if there is a 4-4 point and an open 3-4 or open 3-3 invasion on that 4-4 point, it's going to fall in love with it immediately. However, it's slightly more appealing to play the high approach, 1 space, than to do the 3-3 invasion. One thing that you will notice is not on this board in any way, shape, or form is either of the 2-space approach that we would consider standard. But that seems rather odd. I mean, it was standard, for a reason. We would have suggested that it was the simplest of the variations, let's say. It's something that you can learn, get a nice, quick, easy equal result with, and then continue along your merry little way. But clearly Lizzie is of a different mind, so let's see if maybe some of these other variations are simpler, right? Seems reasonable. So what does it want to do in the event of 3-3? If we play 3-3, what's it going to do? Well, here in the preview screen, you can see one suggestion. We're going to invade the 3-3. Black is going to get a ton of influence. We're going to invade the right-hand side. And we're going to reduce, I suppose? So playing the 3-3 right now means you can invade the 3-3, Joseki, right? That's an important one. You're going to use that influence to immediately invade. You know when you can leave that invasion alone, apparently. You're going to be able to deal with the whole board influence you're giving your opponent. Right? So, invasion. Reduce into minimal life. Into whole board reduction? It did like this, right? Yeah, 53.5, 54.4. So it's viewing these as like pretty equal. Oh, sorry, not on my screen. Now, keep in mind, it did view these as equal results, right? I mean, we've got like a 53.5, we've got like a 54.4 down there. So, I mean, it seems rather okay with it. Right? It seems to be liking the result there. But if you are a Q player who are maybe struggling with these things, that could get you killed. Saying that you're going to, just go into the corner, give them a mad amount of influence, but it's okay because you're just going to turn around and reduce that, and they're going to get a lot of influence across the entire board. But it's okay because you're just going to go and reduce that too. I think that's probably going to equal death. So maybe not this one. Maybe that's why it's like kind of like in one of these other variations, right? So the question is, what is it envisioning from these variations? Here we have a pretty good answer, right? We see an invasion continuation in the upper left-hand corner immediately, and we also noticing that black 2 is a response, but it doesn't take into consideration other things. Like if we play here. For example, what happens if our opponent tries to just, for example, grow this area? Is that going to be a problem? Or what happens if our opponent decides to pincer us? Right? Because one of the reasons why we don't really do this variation, typically speaking, is because it can go wrong pretty quickly, right? It can go wrong pretty fast. It's easy to kind of make white over concentrated and then kind of back off. So what does it recommend in this situation? Is there anything simple here that we're missing? Let's go and find out. So here we don't actually have to let it run very long because it's not going to suggest to jump out. You can go back and do this on your own computer if you'd like. But yeah, it'll never consider this one, I don't think. Okay, it might. Weird, but whatever. It considered the 3-3 briefly too, which is weird, but it decided no. This one seems most normal, and we can see that it's getting into quite a complicated variation here. Not at all like a simple let's just live kind of deal. We're obviously getting into fights, counterattacks, and a whole just range of mess here. So let's see what this thing wants to do. Okay, so after letting it run for each of these variations, and I'm cutting out the in between, just for making the video not last like 4 hours long. you can see here we are once again not in a very simple variation here. We've got white clearly running around with this group. It's not going to die though, I guess, so that's okay. We've got one group here for black. Whoa, that's kind of trippy. We've got one group here for black that's kind of splitting both of white's groups, and because the 3-3s are available, believe it or not, if we look at the win-loss percent, whoops, sorry, I meant to have that up here. If we look at the win-loss projection, we are over 10% a better position for white than we are for black. So to get through this position, all you would need to do is know how to handle two groups simultaneously while giving your opponent territory on the bottom of the board, which I guess it can be done. Lizzie clearly thinks that, we're all good, it can be, but it's not going to really teach you nice, easy, simple variations or suggest nice, simple, easy variations. It's going to kind of provoke, I guess, Armageddon here and hope you can just follow along. So that could be very much a problem again. You got to see how that could be a problem if you're a Q player trying to learn and it's suggesting World War III with a lot of different variations here. But maybe that's native to Kobayashi, right? Maybe it's just native to the whole Kobayashi thing, and it's not going to be with other openings. This is just like a fluke. Could be. We'll test that in a minute. There's just one other thing that I would like to mention. You can kind of see it on the screen right here. If we do approach normally, you can see what it's thinking about right now. And if white approaches normally, it has such amazing confidence in this move. It's saying one of the top 3 suggestions is just say screw it and go into the corner, and then white will respond by going into the corner, and then we can do something about it, right? Because the 3-3s are there, so that's the most important thing on the board right now. Go and invade the 3-3, go and invade the 3-3, and then maybe sometime in the end we can go back and do something there. Now, it is changing its mind as it's going along. Its first response was fascinating, though. It's still pretty heavily leaning towards it, though, to be fair. The difference between, like, this result, for example, 46.3 and 46.8, again, a 46.3, 47.1, they're really, really, really small, right? So they're all really close to being equal results. Really, really close to being equal results. And one thing you'll notice in Leela's variations, repeatedly, Lizzie's variations, whatever, is that it's picking the variation because it wants Sente to hit that 3-3 point. Like you can see here in the variation that it's suggesting for the most normal continuation for white is to play a little bit of a local loss because the 3-3 is open and you can go ahead and take that 3-3 point. It's not going to, for example, have you play a Joseki here where you're going to settle, because if you don't get the Sente here, then maybe you don't get to invade the 3-3. And that could be a problem. So you can see how that might be an issue. But again, maybe it's just Kobayashi. Let's go ahead and look at a different opening. So here we're now looking at the classic low Chinese. I put a 3-4 on the board instead of a 3-3 to make it maybe less enticing to, invade the 3-3 points. Alright, so here we are with the low Chinese, and one thing is immediately jumping out to you right off the bat, and that is its suggestions. It's pretty much dismissing modern ways of approaching the low Chinese. It completely didn't even contemplate any of the older ways of approaching the low Chinese. The older ways are approaching from this side, for example, maybe higher low here, playing the star point, taking one of these enclosures. All of those are, within the last, I would say, 10, 15 years. Whoops. Sorry. It contemplated one of them for a minute. But you can see it was one of the normal ways of dealing with it in the last 10 or 15 years or so. Now it's got two very, very different suggestions. And suggestion 1, obviously, by an overwhelming margin, Well, not overwhelming, I guess. One suggestion, of course, is to invade the 3-3 because it is available. So it wants that 3-3. It's going to give you a wall. It's going to give a wall, clearly. And then we're going to do some weird fighting on the bottom of the board to make this even out, I guess. Or maybe we're going to do... Why would we do that? Or we'll do this one, where, you know, black is going to be building again. But it's okay, because we're just going to reduce the whole board again. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We're just going to do a whole board reduction. It'll be grand. Alternative is to attach to the 3-4 point. I have no concept of what's going on in the bottom left-hand corner right now, but once again, you can see that black is getting a wall, solid territory on the right, and it's kind of building out again. That feels a little strange, and I would also go ahead and say probably not basic, probably not simple, not liking that at all. And then, of course, there is the 3-4 point, or the 3-4 enclosure point, sorry. And I'm going to just ignore whatever that is on the bottom of the board. So one thing that we're not finding out, oops, actually maybe we are. Okay, no, not so much. One thing that we're not really doing is we're not seeing some of maybe the older ways of dealing with that. We're not seeing those suggestions pop up. We're not really seeing some of the newer Jiseki, I've say newer, like 5 years-ish, that came up in the upper right, the whole 3-3 invasions that we might be seeing constantly. What else are we not seeing? We did briefly see this, and again, apparently expected that we're just gonna give away a lot on the right, so it's doable. We can get influence there, I suppose. A little bit difficult to deal with, though. But yeah, definitely things like, definitely things like this, for example, where maybe we just back off, maybe we just go into the corner and settle. Variations like that, even something as simple as taking away the extension from the framework in order to limit its potential to grow. These things aren't really being considered. So it can be difficult to use this to learn opening. And this is going to be true no matter what opening you look at. For example, let's say we look at the Sanrinsei. You can see immediately it's zeroing in on the 3-3 invasions in the upper left and right part of the board. Though I'm a little confused as to why one of them is higher than the other. They're literally the same thing. That's weird. There's literally no difference. But okay, sure, whatever. But yeah, you can see, once again, really digging those 3-3 invasions. So again, could be hard to find decent suggestions to your opening. If there's a 3-3 invasion point it can take, it's going to prioritize that. So if you're trying to learn direction of play, how to build, things like that, you're probably not going to be able to find it from Lizzie because she's going to be telling you to invade like a crazy person over and over and over again. That's just what you're going to be looking at. So things like maybe how to build more efficiently, these kind of ideas you might not be able to find in this program right now. Maybe in the future, I don't know. Because it's heavily influenced by whether or not you can get a 3-3 invasion for yourself. But you might say to yourself, you know what, that's completely a-okay. I'm not trying to use it to learn Kobayashi or Sanrinsei or Low Chinese. I could show you the variations that it suggests with mini and micro as well, and they're pretty much about the same thing. Get Sente, invade a 3-3 point, and then just like reduce on a massive scale. Things that are very difficult for new players specifically to do, cute players in general to do, and I would say even difficult for me to do. And like, I'm a mid-don last I checked. But maybe just looking at positions. I want to use it to learn positions, like fighting positions in mid-game. The opening, okay, yeah, it's heavily influenced on the 3-3. But once we take all of that off the board and we start like number crunching the middle game, that's when I'm going to start getting stronger. Because I'll find great ideas for me to play in my games from those. So, cool idea. Let's check that out too. Okay, so here's a game straight from my basic series. This one was taken from OGS. It was me versus Stormwolf, who I believe was like 9 or 8Q or something. So right off the bat, you can predict if you're having Lizzie help you review your game. You know it's going to suggest immediately. It's going to suggest, hello, give me predictions. Yoo-hoo. There we go. It's going to suggest enclosures. It's going to suggest the 3 points. It's kind of zeroing in on them immediately. That's completely fine. We did that as well. We took the enclosure. We were black, right? No, he was black. I was white. Okay. So he enclosed, which Lizzie wasn't too fond of. You see, we're not even contemplating a small enclosure. It's just too small and obsolete, I guess. Even if you let it run further along. That's okay, whatever. It's an enclosure. It's an enclosure. Who cares? You can see white getting suggested. Again, the 3-3, but you know, let's go past that. We're just gonna go ahead and settle. Because we said screw Lizzie's opening. We're just gonna settle. We're gonna get, you know, knowledge of opening and things like that from books and stuff. Maybe videos, mine, someone else's, who knows. And then we're gonna use Lizzie for mid-game. So maybe we wind up in a position like this, right? There are no more 3-3 invasions. This is where all the 3-3 invasions are gone, so it can't, you know, go crazy recommending those at every turn. So how do we continue from here? Like, this is literally the first position where the 3-3 invasion is no longer an option. So we're kind of like deep into the middle game. What should we be doing? Okay, so we've let it run for a couple of variations. You can see it's really hit on that tight pincer. Now, in the actual game, you can see the circle here. I decided to just build, right? This is what I did in the actual game. And there's not even like a circle here even contemplating this move, really, which is interesting. A little bit of a contemplation of the jump, but it's kind of like saying, don't like it so much. It's a little interesting to note that it does like what I play up here at 5 later on, right? In order to build, it kind of digs that move, but it's hard to find it immediately because of all the other ones that it's suggesting. It's suggesting pincers, heavily suggesting pincers. Like all of these are like pretty much non-considerations. We want to do something else instead. So let's see what happens if we try to pincer. Holy Christ. Okay, that is... we're gonna get into a crosscut with the group running in the middle. That's, I guess... We get territory on the right. I mean, that's good, I suppose. And then maybe we can attack the one in the middle later? Question mark? I mean, so that's technically a thing that we could try to do. But if we're trying to learn basic, simple play and just kind of where's the large point, how to maximize our profit, things like that, we might be having a slight problem here with Lizzie. Okay, this one's a little bit better. We go into this one into that, but this is again an attack into potentially a counter attack into not missing the large point that we really, really want to get, or alternatively, we could just, you know, play the friggin' thing right now. But the question is, if I play that right now, it's saying that white has it's saying that white is 68% chance of winning this game right now, because we've got like solid territory and black doesn't really. So if we just play that, do we ruin our chances of winning the game? And we play here. Yeah, last move I lost 6%. I lost 6.5%. That's that. I think 6%, 6.7, 6.6, something like that. We are losing. You can't actually see, but yeah, we are losing about 6.7% chance. So that's kind of weird. So it kind of frowns on our move. We're losing over 5% chance of keeping the game in our favor if we go ahead and play it. But it's nice and simple. It grows our largest area. And we're not getting into like fights and attacks and counterattacks and things like that. So it's good. We still have a nice solid lead, but it's not one of Lizzie's top suggestions. as you can clearly see here. But again, maybe that's a fluke, so let's go and see what other things that it doesn't like me doing. It liked the upper right. Didn't agree with Black's moves, though, clearly, because, I mean, that's a self-Atari, and I deeply apologize. I know the person I played watches the videos, so you have to see this again. Oops. After that, it's pretty okay. The problem here, though, in a game like this, though, is it's hard to find the next really good move, as you can see here, because once you have a 97% chance of winning, you can pretty much play anything on the board, and you're gonna probably be fine. So, if you're too far ahead, then Lizzie's like, I mean, dude, pass a couple of times so I can give you suggestions on what to do, because almost anything pretty much works, as you can see here. I mean, the board is just highlighted by a bunch of different moves that are keeping you still in the 97 percentile. So yeah, short of passing, I don't think that's really going to do a whole lot. So that can get tough too. So opening can be tough because it's going to kind of make things complicated, or in a sense it's going to have you like invade things and expect you to like reduce whole board positions. Playing simple, not necessarily. It might have you try to like attack and get into counterattacks, or that weird freaking split that we saw. Where was it? Back here? Yeah, that weird freaking split that we saw somewhere in here. I don't know where it was. Did it change its mind? Nope, there it is. Yeah, like weird splits here that might lead into really complicated attacks, but apparently, you know, it's even, you can handle it because, you know, territorially you're fine. And then once you're too far ahead, then trying to find like the best solid move there is going to be difficult, because there's just so many things that you can do. For example, if you were white this game, oops, sorry, 1 second, there we go, here, yeah, no, here, crap, where were we? Where'd we find that stuff? Yeah, I don't remember where. Somewhere in here. Might be difficult to find like best moves there because everything is so in your favor that it doesn't really matter what you play. I mean, just you can do whatever you want. It might be hard to find the simple move there too. But I really want to hit on this a little bit more, so let's go look at some more mid-game stuff where it just disagrees on like the basic move in favor of something a lot more freaking complicated. Alright, so here was a game I played on... Sorry, I kind of picked my basics games at random. I don't know where this was. Sandy B. Foxy, I think. Foxy 3Q, probably. And I was black. Dual 3-4 is one reason I want to go over this game, because dual 3-4, so there's limits to the 3-3 invasions. We got pincered, we enclosed. Did it recommend enclosing? Out of curiosity, just curious. Whoops, no. Here, no, yeah, here. Okay, I didn't actually know that. That's fascinating. I did not know that the, Oh, no, it's recommending I jump out. Okay, yeah, so that right there is a problem, because I usually say in like every game, don't jump out for pincers, right? Don't do this. And you can see that it's getting a bit complicated, right? It's getting a little bit complicated. It likes this not for the getting nice, simple position. There's weird things happening here. There's connect unders, and then I don't even know what. This, obviously, also not a simple position. The whole leaning out thing, not really a favor of that. I go with the enclosure because it's a lot freaking simple. A lot simpler. Like one of the things I teach in the basic series, for example, is if you're pincered after approaching, either go into the 3-3, which I kind of like. I don't care if it doesn't, I like it. Or go into like the enclosure here, which is what we do. He caps us, and then we split. You can see the split not being a suggestion. Right off the bat, maybe it will be in a few more thousand variations, but right now, it's just really digging that 3-3. But I think I mentioned when I was playing the game that I prefer to split here because white is clearly interested in the influence, So if we get a group here, that influence can't be used, and then he has to use another move to take away the 3/3 to make sure we can't hit it. So we kind of get to split in Sente, potentially, or we can split and then go back and do the 3/3, and if he gets a wall there, who cares? We already have a living group on the side of it. Doesn't really matter, but all it's really looking at is enclosure in the upper left, which, you know, I'm not opposed to, and then the 3/3s in the lower left and the lower right part of the board. Splits, for example, aren't even on the table for consideration, despite the fact that I believe it would be the most basic move that you could, in fact, play here. You're seeing the influence, you're making certain that your opponent can't use it effectively in the future, and if he wants to get something solid from it, he's going to have to go back and make sure that you can't hit the 3/3. But we've got 21,000 variations here, apparently, with it really, really digging that lower right-hand corner. So best move here is that. So what happens from this board? Okay, from this board you can see we are expecting to give white a wall. We're expecting to be able to reduce it nice and lightly. We're going to give the left-hand side quite a bit of it to our opponent. And yeah, we're just going to have to handle that, I guess. But my opinion, this one was pretty much a lot better, but it doesn't like it. Once again, you can see here, no, you can't, sorry, but this move is down by 5-6% again. So it's really unhappy with this, and it's even suggesting this being one of the next moves for white to go ahead and do exactly what I mentioned. Not only to take the corner, but when you get Sente, to play 7 and make certain that black can't come from the other side as well. Which is, in my opinion, kind of weird, and I would rather be happy with. For white to give me Sente twice in order to ensure that this one stone is dead. I would be kind of fine with that. So white plays here. We got into a really weird position here because our opponent decided to invade. And from here, I played this move, which is a nice basics move. We're acknowledging our stone's in a little bit of trouble here. So I think that we should go ahead and make shape to ensure that it's hard for our opponent to counterattack us. Now, does Lizzie agree with that? And once again, immediately your eye is probably drawn to the lower right-hand corner of the board because there is a 3/3 there. You can see the variations that it's contemplating. I want to stop right here. You can see one of the variations it's contemplating is the fact that we are going to be severely attacked on the bottom left-hand corner of the board. Right? We're going to get poked. We're going to respond. Our shape is trash. But we can deal with that. And that is absolutely 100% not a basic thing to do. So once again, you kind of can't use this program if you're just trying to learn simple play. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. I can't say that enough. It just isn't. And if you're doing variations like this, you're complicating your game, which could be the opposite of what you need to work on. You might need to work on uncomplicating your game, learning direction of play, learning shape, the value of it, things like that. You might have to work on cutting points, but you can clearly tell if you go through the game, it's not really going to be prioritizing those things. Like if you're cut, it's fine. You can deal with it. You'll make shape. It's gonna be good. Just hit that 3/3. So that's a thing. That is absolutely a thing. And case in point, let's see. This is 60. Okay, not that stupid. Stop. So here, no, yes, stop. We are at 60% chance to win game right now. I like that. That's over half. I played here. Once again, doesn't like my move. We lost 6% chance to win right now. Bummer, dude. So that unfortunately sucks. Nevertheless, it is a basic move, and I'm sticking with it. Now, this isn't the only time I'm looking at this, too, because we have this position, and we have Sente here. It's kind of liking the enclosure. It's, again, liking the 3/3. I took the enclosure, and here's where things get really, really interesting. Check this out. White plays here, right, in order to do, like, the whole enlargy thing. Lizzie wants you to go into the 3/3 immediately because it's still there and it's big. So kudos. black has a 62% chance, 62.5% chance to win the game right now, apparently. And we're really just focusing predominantly on that position right there. Like all of these others are kind of like not really being considered. This one seems to be like the greatest thing in the history of sliced bread, which apparently results in you not living locally and having to do a little bit of running times. Again, issues. I picked this one. We lost 8% chance to win because now we can go back and secure that corner as white. But wait, you might impress me. No, come back. Get darker. No, get darker. Okay, yeah, it's fixated on that bottom right hand corner. See, the thing is, we have an enclosure and extension here and an extension over here too. And this needs to be sealed off because even Lizzie is like, that needs to be sealed off right now, dude. But even if you do that, it's admitting, oh, by the way, there's problems here too. There's still invasion points, right? So it's a bit of a weird analysis. Needless to say, our opponent played here. Again, it's recommending the same thing. The lower right hand, for the most part. We played here. We lost 6.5 again because our opponent can go ahead and take this. And even now, it still wants us to just like seal off the corner, despite the fact that it's admitting you seal off the corner. It's still open to invade, right? There's like an invasion there. But why would you? If you sealed this off, right? And your opponent was like, okay, I'm going to just like play here now. Is like this the next move? Yeah, see, it's not even contemplating that anymore. Now it's just like, invade somewhere, anywhere, and it's looking for like a lot of different points to invade from, right? You could even go ahead and play something like this because you're threatening to go underneath, right? Go away. You're threatening to go underneath here, right? For a pretty high reduction, which is why that's very, very interesting, right? So yeah, we're kind of leaving basics in the garbage if we kind of take her variations, which is a little bit unfortunate. And it's really, really frustrating when this happens too. When like there's a 4-4 point on the board, because like let's say the upper right, like you're really trying to figure out, dude, how do we handle the top? And it's just like, you should not play there. You should play here. It's like, well, what if we do? It's like, what's the best local answer? And then it's going to heavily suggest other ones and not necessarily like the ones you might think are basic. It'd be like, well, you know, I shouldn't be playing here. I should be playing down here again. And then it's getting into a fight on the top side. Or I should be playing maybe... That one's kind of basic. As long as you convey the right, I guess. But yeah, you can see how tough it's going to be to like keep finding interesting local sequences when, again, over and over and over again, it's going to be like, invade, invade, invade. It can even be difficult to find ways to like perform splitting attacks, for example, when it's not going to really follow through on that attack. Because right now it's saying like even the barest hint of a suggestion. It's like you can lean here, but then you can see there's like no follow-up on the top side. Like where would we play after this? It's kind of hard to figure out. Right? Unless we start playing through this way. And even then, it's leaning towards forget the top, seal off this. So it's weird. It's weird. You know? It's very weird. So it can be difficult to like find what you're looking for in your review when she's heavily slanted towards other things, I guess is what I'm saying. And there's one more example of this that I really want to show. That's such a good example. So here we have a really, really bad opening. Right? We have a very, very bad opening. We could go through the motions again. It's going to have you ignore. I teach in basics not to ignore. She obviously is looking at 3-3 invasions, kicks, back offs, things like that. I generally tell you not to ignore this to respond, but whatever, she doesn't like it. This was fine, right? Okay, enclose, that's fine. I extend, who cares? She's gonna come in and invade, or he came in and invaded. This was mostly okay. But then we get into little teensy tiny differences. Right here, for example, it's immediately saying that I've got a 68% chance of winning. Again, because I've got a lot of frigging territory out of this, and you know, black, not so much. Black's group is highly questionable. I played here. It wanted to keep attacking, which, I mean, close. It wants this one. That's close. That's good. We're on track. Maybe if we review the game with Lizzie later, we would have thought, okay, maybe this one's a bit better. That's completely fine. Completely fine. No problems there. So we played here, and then you know, he lived. Getting confused. And from here, it's interesting. Wants us to keep playing here, right? That one in particular, I want to call your attention to. That variation in particular. Play here. Black's going to ignore. Like, we can't be cut from this position. Like, there's no cut here. There is no cut here. It just wants to put more pressure on the black group. And then invade the upper left-hand corner. We're going to give Sensei to our opponent. Our opponent's going to use that Sensei from the wall to put pressure on our 4 stuns on the left-hand side. So we're going to invade, give territorial or influence away again. That influence is going to be used to attack our group, but we're going to be fine, so kudos. However, as of right now, we have an 85% chance to win, according to some people. So I don't really see why we have to do that. Instead, you know, basics again, where's the weakest group? This group is out, this is strong, so we played here. And it was a stone that was never even suggested. In fact, we lose, once again, the same amount. Gotta love it. If we run it far enough, if we run it far enough, we essentially encounter the same problem where we're like losing percentages because it's not prioritizing solidifying our weak groups like we would want to have you do in basics, and instead it wants you to go start something. Like, go poke at this group again, go take the corner, he's going to launch a counterattack, but you're going to be fine, and things like that. So this is one of the most black and white examples of why Lizzie can be dangerous, especially if you're focusing on, you know, when is it okay to play a safe move? When can we just get better shape? If we're ahead, how do we just like remain ahead and not give much chance to our opponent to come back in the game? Then moves like this, which are completely fine. Even if this was like much closer game, this is completely fine. We reduce the ability for black to attack our weak groups because we don't really have any on the board anymore. He still has one, but we don't, so we're okay. But yeah, not really what you're going to be finding if you review your games with certain AI. So to recap, Fuseki has trouble with because you're going to be getting suggestions for invasions. You're going to be suggestions for boards that are like way above your pay grade. Having to like reduce these whole board monstrosities is going to be very tough to do, especially if you're a Q load-on player, or even for me on some of the things that I've seen her suggest in my own games. I was just like flat out like, no, just never ever am I doing that. Theoretically, it is possible, I guess, if you have the reading ability to do it, which requires a lot. But for most of us, no. It's just, if we try it, we're going to get killed. So Fuseki, it can kind of hurt a lot. Jiseki obviously can hurt a lot from there too, because it's going to suggest weird things. Mid-game, trying to find out what's safe to play. Kind of backing off on that, because it's going to be looking for ways to start stuff. You saw it here. It wants to keep poking in this position, for example. Wants to keep poking this group. And then, like, back here, it wants to keep poking this group. Take the corner. It's going to give influence away. They're going to counterattack. And then we're gonna be in a fight still, when we should be thinking about how can we just like make sure that our opponent can't be trying to counterattack and fight us, because that's not up to us. It's up to them. They have to figure out how to get us to fight. We don't have to invite fights, if that makes sense, because we are already, even by Lizzie standards, like 85% chance to win the game. So why would I do that? That's like the complete opposite of basic. Previous games, you saw that too, where we were just trying to, make shape to make certain that we couldn't be counterattacked, because we had a pretty nice solid board there, and it was like, no, don't worry about it. In one variation, you saw it wanted to take the 3-3, even though it meant a counterattack on our group, and not really sure where that was going to go. That was pretty severe. And the game before that, there was a nice easy way to just profit, but that wasn't like as efficient as, attacking your opponent again and getting them to run and counterattack and trying to get them to like build while doing things. And that's not completely basic either, when we could just get the flat out profit. We're ahead regardless. I mean, even the board that we were on, you saw that we wound up in like a 99% chance to win, despite the fact we didn't choose that variation. So it was pretty good. It worked out for us. And yeah, that's pretty much the theme of this video. You have to be really, really careful when you ask Leela or Lizzie for suggestions, because it suggests really complicated things most of the time. And that might not be what you're looking for if your weakness right now in the game is you're already making it too complicated. Then this is just going to kind of exacerbate that, because it's going to be telling you, no, you should be attacking more. And if that's not already going well for you, that could be a very, very big problem. Certainly not basic, certainly not standard, certainly not traditional, so take that for what you will. Now, the question is, how can Lizzie help me? How can Lizzie help me? That's a really good question. It's a really great question with a very long answer that I think is going to be very entertaining and subject of the next video. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're looking to see how Lizzie can help your games, and there are lots of ways she can help your games, then I do hope you tune in for that one as well. In the meantime, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.